Hello, jiu-jitsu people, fathers, husbands, wives, entrepreneurs, and everyone who wants to kick ass in life and sports and feel good and look good naked. So, I've come back from BTC Boston. I just trained, had insomnia this whole month. It's been really, really horrible. And what I learned has allowed me to dominate training. Not just dominate training, but continue to dominate training despite years of insomnia, having insomnia for most of my life, never really being able to train as much as everyone else, being able to train once a week, twice a week, max, taking years off, huge digestive issues. I could barely digest anything. I'm pooping my guts out, puking my guts out, can't sleep, rehabbing this. Rehabbing this is actually so much of my life that's become my business because I can't do anything else. It's like all of my thoughts go only towards. So right now I'm trying to focus more because it's just good to focus, guys. Train your focus. So training a lot, but not as much as I should. Really, like 10 years of training on average twice a week. And what I have learned is that that style of training is much more advantageous to high-level performance than training every day. I seldom get injured. I train movements every day. I walk barefoot. I will drill technique. Excuse me. Drill technique. I just said excuse me, not because I'm excusing myself to you guys per se. More to let you know. That's kind of weird. I'm metacognicizing too much. I won't cut this because it's just insomnia brain. I slept a bit last night. Slept like 4 or 5 hours again. So that's good. So I'm sleeping like 4 or 5 hours, and then the next night I'm sleeping like 8, 9 hours. And it's just alternating. So that's better than what it has been, which has been not sleeping at all. And then it was sleeping 4 hours, and then not sleeping at all again, and then it was sleeping 2 hours, and then 4 hours, and then 2 hours and 4 hours, and 4 hours and 8 hours. Now it's 4 hours, 8 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours. It's growing though. The sleep is coming back because I do strict carnivore, beef, salt, water, Adderall, cheese, pepperoni yesterday. I have been micro-dosing shiitake mushrooms, if you get my drift. And that actually has really helped my sleep. So if you have shiitake mushrooms, then it could be very advantageous psilocybin to microdose those, because the neuroplasticity can help your brain regrow itself and break out of microdosing psilocybin mushrooms helps me rebuild my brain, and having had access to them for periods of time, and then not having access to them for periods of time, then having limited access to them, and getting the smallest amount through the most roundabout way. Psilocybin mushroom fairy, if you know her, she's a good friend of mine. Recently, as in the night I slept 8 hours, like a night ago, not last night, and I have a little more of my sleep today, we're going to see if I sleep more. Like 8 hours again tonight or more, because I definitely need the neuroplasticity, and it did help me not be nauseous when I had slept like 2 or 3 hours or so. Really did help, and I thought back to other times when I had seen the psilocybin fairy more regularly, and to be completely open about it, as weird, like, just to be open about my experience. This is a documentary on my life, and I hope this information can help people. Reflecting on having used psilocybin and not used psilocybin to rehabilitate my brain, I can definitely say that in some sense this longer bout of insomnia I'm experiencing more recently, as in this past month, may have happened in part due to me not using psilocybin to microdose as I have and typically do historically when I have bouts of insomnia, which that's leading me to believe that psilocybin microdosing and the neuroplasticity that it induces helps to rehabilitate insomnia-induced neurodegeneration or dysregulation and can prevent its onset. I have found that paracetam has I'm feeling a little twinge right now. Maybe you're on hair sign, but finding paracetam has a similar effect. Adderall even has a similar effect. Really, caffeine can be used to have a similar effect depending on the source and form and dosage. And if you use food to consume it, if you're using it metabolically, or if you're using it to replace sleep. But psilocybin is seemingly helping me. I only have a small amount for later today, so let's see if that works. I don't have any more, so whatever, I'll have to make do. But it's interesting because I think that this neuroplasticity can be very helpful. Also, I'm going to the sauna. The sauna is helpful for anger management because I have a hard time regulating my anger when I have not slept. And people will go, well, you should do that anyway. And I say to you, you've never stayed up for a week straight. Go fuck yourself. You have no idea what you're talking about. It's basically like telling someone who's undergoing genital mutilation or torture that they're overreacting. It's just, like, you don't even know. It's weird. It does feel like an ingrown hair or something. But you don't know what it's like. It's hard, though. It is my responsibility, ultimately, to not be angry than is necessary in any given situation. So, sauna helps with that. Chlorella helps with that. Anything that can detoxify you, improve your gut health, improve your mitochondrial health, aid your body in detox, like cyclic fasting. When I had no idea what to do, I did like cyclic keto and cyclic fasting in high school, and that worked really well insofar as it didn't make things worse, and it seemed to make things better and stall them from getting worse. Because if you're not sleeping, things are just always getting worse. But get busy living or get busy dying. So, coming back from Open Mat, had a great time there. But if you are not attacking, you're losing. So you have to get an offensive mindset about life. You gotta go for it. If you do that, much as I sound like an American Beauty motivational tape or some Patrick Bateman thing. Team Patrick Bateman. He's a very tortured man. It's sad. The scene where he stabbed the homeless man to death really touches me. It hurts me so much. Like, it's like, you're so kind, so it's just like, oh my God, like, what actual hatred toward. I want to make a painting of a homeless man, a businessman, shaking hands as brothers, recognizing that their existence mutually depends on each other, for they eat out of the same restaurants. The rich man just eats out of the front, and the homeless man out of the back. So really, they are brothers. They depend on each other. And the homeless man looks at the rich man and says, I eat out of the same restaurant as you. You work so much. And the rich man looks at the homeless man and says, I work so hard, my children will never be you. And their existence mutually depends on each other. In some metaphysical sense, they're lovers. It's quite weird, but interesting. It's nice how opposites depend on each other in a metaphysical sense. Oh, relaxation precipitates exaggerated power, because if you're too tense, you inhibit your own muscular expression. As a martial artist, it's very important. I approach life as a martial artist, and as a martial artist, it's very important to use the principles of martial arts in life. I love my training at Brazilian Top Team, but the issue with it is that it's timed rounds. The timed rounds are not reality. Reality is one long, unbroken, untimed round, and that is ultimately how I would love to train the majority of my training. I should do that with my brother. We should simply do that. That's actually the solution. Oh, you can train more if you do that because you don't use as much energy because you can't, because it's inefficient. I'll just do that with my brother because I can do that in the basement, and then I can not complain that other people aren't doing it when I'm myself not doing it. But it's reality, and it reflects reality more because when I train that way, it trains me to think of life as a never-ending puzzle instead of as a puzzle that I deal with in bursts. Because while there can be bursts inserted into the puzzle of life, the bursts are of no use if your structure and form cannot endure consistently, and this becomes very evident as a parent. I was recently at a family get-together where everyone was asking me how I was, and I was telling them I was completely exhausted and beat up by life, but I'm doing fine. And oh, hey, would you look at it? I'm so proud of this thing. I don't want to crash the car showing you guys, but I'm so proud of this thing. It's just, it's amazing. I love it. I created something that reflects what it's my supplement. I think it's so many supplements. I cap so many supplements. I created something that reflects me. It's like a reverse Horcrux. Like, instead of killing someone and putting my fragment of my soul into something, I talked to people and tried to help people so much and help myself so much for the sake of goodness itself, as lofty as that is. I did do that. You can do it too. I got some anger demons, man, but like, I do love people at the end of the day, and I wanted to make something that just reflects love, and that's why I wrote on here. I'm so happy with this. I just wrote this because I want this to be out in the world. I'm being so open, I'll just tell you guys. It's because if you made it this far in the video, you're a fan, man. You're in it. So I'll tell you. So I was on MDMA and LSD. I think it was on 125 milligrams of pure MDMA, maybe a little bit of piracetam, and 200 micrograms of lysergic acid diethylamide, the finest in the land, gamma goblins, white sheets, and just very, very pure MDMA. Tested all of this stuff. You have to test all of your drugs in a safe environment in my apartment with my brother, with people who, like my friend Anthony, and they knew what I was on. I had a written down experience. It was very safe. I'm just very into drug safety. I don't really do MDMA anymore. Actually, I haven't done MDMA in like 5 years, and I don't intend on doing MDMA really ever again, maybe ever, because it's just like, yeah, I've never had issues on it, but friends of mine have had issues on it, and known people have issues on it, and you can overdose. Like, the effective dose is within an order of magnitude of overdose. So therefore, that to me is a risky substance, much riskier than something, let's say psilocybin, of which the high dose psilocybin that I have done a handful of times in my life that's completely changed the course of my life in so many ways, and just I and other people I know who have done this high dose psilocybin experience have encountered what we believe and we call God as we know it, and same way Alcoholics Anonymous say, talk to God as you know him. That's what psilocybin mushrooms brought me to, and because of that, I and many other people I know, not many, but like a handful, like will never, or told me they would never kill themselves. They've been depressed, and they feel now a permanent connection, or at least it's been permanent so far. It's been a long time-ish, I mean, almost a decade. And they feel this permanent connection to this loving higher power that is God. And anyway, on this candy flipping trip, one time I candy flipped, I just wanted to see what it was like, see if it was that great. And honestly, I can say candy flipping is not as good, not even within a few orders of magnitude of that place I got to on purely high dose psilocybin, on a good diet after not doing any drugs. You just don't do any drugs for 2 weeks, and you pray a lot, and you meditate a lot, and you get straight with your loved ones, and you journal, and you do all the AA stuff, and you can just go do high dose mushrooms and pray to God. Maybe, I don't know if it's a good idea. Who knows? This is what I did. People I know have done this. And doing that, I have experienced what I call God. Be me delusional or enlightened. I don't know. I don't really care. I do care in the end, because I wouldn't want to spread delusion, but to my own personal end, I can't really imagine an enlightenment that doesn't encompass that. And always seek a more loving and encompassing. But anyway, so I wrote down this quote that just sort of encompasses the main takeaway of like, oh, Devin, well, you've done all these drugs and felt enlightened and met God, but what are you going to do about it? Now, it's a very fair question that I ask myself as a Bostonian. And the answer to that question is the impact that counts is the consciousness, should really not take my eyes off the road, you give and the love you share. So just get as conscious as possible in the most loving way possible and share that love with everyone else. Share the love and consciousness, people. The light. Make sure your love can be seen. If your love cannot be seen, it's not worthy of the light, then it's likely not love. And I think that's something guiding. I mean, if it's not conscious, if it's unconscious, if you're wondering what these things are, then meditate on it. This guides me. So I made something with that on it, and I'm putting that out in the world, and I hope that that quote goes around the world and people think about that, and it does something good, as well as the sleep minerals inside that reflect that quote. So I feel good about that. And I ultimately want to make really engaging YouTube videos for you guys, but I've accepted that this content is very niche, and I have a small core following now, which is very nice. Every time I upload videos, I immediately get a bunch of views, maybe a dozen views or so, maybe more on the video, and that, like, within the first day a dozen, and within the first few hours, like 4, 5, 6, whenever I upload. That reflects to me a core following of a dozen or so people, which I'm really happy about. And I want to keep making content for that car audience and for car audience. My Boston accent shine. But I think about Joe Rogan and his early episodes and how I haven't seen them, and I wonder what his mentality was in the beginning, because ultimately YouTube is the process of sharing your personality with other people. And really what I'm doing for you people, me people, you're my people. This is the point of YouTube in a sense, is to reach out and find your people. I was at my family get-together 2 nights ago, and a lot of my family members watch my YouTube channel, and I was just like, wow, it's because they're my people. It's so cool. And like, they all have the same drunk humor as me. I wasn't drunk because I'm not drinking, because it just gives me fucking insomnia. It sucks. Because I technically drink when I take communion at church, and that's sort of the point, is that I'm like, well, I drink with you guys, so we're all in this together. I'm not better than you, but we all have the same drunk humor. I think that's genetic. Maybe mitochondrially based. Probably. I think humor comes from the mitochondria. How could it be otherwise? Maybe. I mean, maybe. That could be why laughter is the best medicine, because the enlightening effect of humor. So this is lightening my spirits, which is good, because I need to lighten my spirits. So I'm just going to keep filming until this thing ends. I need to keep lightening my spirits, because holy cow, insomnia depresses me. It's just horrible. It's so horrible. It's like this inability to raise my energy, and I just feel unrelenting rage directed at nothing and at myself, and I just hate myself because I can't remember why I should love myself or anyone else, and everyone's just irritating me because they keep on talking, which means I have to think about things. And since I have to think about things, my brain hurts, and they have no consideration for the fact that my brain hurts, with the fact that I've helped them with 90% of their health issues. The fact that they don't suffer from basically any health issues because they're in my personal circle means that I've basically suffered with all of those health issues and have to solve them, and I just lovingly and freely share my supplements and my ability to cap those supplements and my knowledge and everything with these people in my circle. I put out these videos relentlessly for everyone, and I just constantly work in order to help people. But specifically them, my inner circle. I mean, you guys, to some degree, it's I don't know. I mean, I slept a bit black. I'm still in the window where I've slept. I'm trying to encapsulate the angry rant, but I'm still within the window where I've slept. I did some jiu-jitsu, so I feel good from the neuroplasticity induced by the BDNF from the cardio, muscular exertion, and breathing that is forced through concentration of my body into focus exercise and jiu-jitsu, which is amazing. I rolled with this guy who's purple belt in Boston. Former wrestler, graduated the year I started, just awesome. Dude took me down. Doesn't happen really ever, but great for him. Just wow, it's awesome. Just wow. I mean, I know I have a plan for how I'm going to defend that. And I feel the need to specify this because it's part of the thing. Like, I don't just like, oh, I have to take you down. It's like, no, it's like we're going to send up the guillotine and we just stall down neutral for the rest of the round. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I'll just kind of let it happen and see what I can do as this happens. You couldn't really establish anything. I end up re-establishing guard. He disengages in the round ends. That's why I like the no time limit, because, like, let's see what's going to happen, you know? It gives me no pressure to take you down in neutral and no pressure to waste energy with useless escapes. It just takes the pressure off and makes it the purely animalistic game of predator and prey. In the wild, there is no time limit. I suppose there might be an unknown time limit if something comes in and murders you, but that's just whatever. I mean, who knows when that's going to happen? You just vomit at any minute, and that could end your round. So there really isn't always a time limit. It's more just that no time limit is actually the natural unspecified time limit that replicates more live combat, which really just builds the ability to relax, because you don't have to constantly be trying to escape. Not that you do anyway, but more so that the psychology of the round time limit structure encourages more inefficient jiu-jitsu, and also encourages jiu-jitsu that hurts older practitioners. That's something that older practitioners don't really understand. I'll just make this whole rest of the video about older practitioners doing jiu-jitsu, because that's something that could actually help people a lot. So if you're an older practitioner doing jiu-jitsu, then you should take away from this that you should be training hard rounds once to twice a week max ever. Take every 4th week off, and this is from my own experience, GSP's experience. GSP trained 3 times a week hard ever, 5 hard rounds max ever. I think far less is actually more beneficial. Read The Quick and the Dead. Recognize that this sort of training is better. You feel beat up, you're trying to train all the time like a young person. You're also doing these rounds, which encourage you to be inefficient. Train no time limit. They're like, oh, we're just going to stall on bottom. Okay, whatever. If they can't pass your half guard or choke you from there, why should you have to move and waste energy? That's dumb. And that also hurts your jiu-jitsu. It hurts your development. It makes you insecure, because now you're old and you think, oh, I'm out of jiu-jitsu. All I have to do is stall. All I can do is stall from half guard against these big people. But in reality, if you're doing no time limit jiu-jitsu, you just murder all of them at the 20-minute mark during your 2-hour open mats. And you'd be like, wow, I just tapped out 6 230-pound former wrestling blue belts, and I feel invincible. And it's like, that's reality versus the time limit, which makes you feel like it's not reality. It's the same for small people. Efficiency must be encouraged through open-ended action. And that's the same thing that I learned with business, is that I have to do efficient action, because if I overextend myself through exertion, by adopting an inefficient strategy, then I will ultimately end up burning out, and thus being unable to allow something to grow. Nature shows up every day, and so must I. I must be like the sun and show up every day. That's why, actually, it's crazy, I haven't thought of this in a while, but I got a sun tattoo. It is a part of my tattoo. The sun shines every day. A fish keeps swimming. I must show up every day and be efficient like the sun and the fish, because if I'm not, then I will die. And I need to allow things to grow, like the YouTube channel. I have achieved this success in YouTube, however small it is, and growing. I just consider myself already a success, because this is like, wow. And it just keeps going. I mean, I see the stats behind the screen, guys, and like, I'm getting like 40 views max in a week on most of my videos. Sometimes they had 100 views on my major videos. Shorts hit a few thousand views. But these things keep being viewed by the core audience of people, and that ultimately is just building this massive thing of engagement, whereby the total watch hours of my channel is just exponentially eating. And I have people hitting me up all the time for health coaching, people leaving comments all the time. This is really, really, this small amount, the fact that you're seeing this video on the channel means that I've already succeeded. Go start your own YouTube channel and see. So ultimately, I achieved this, though it took me longer than it should have, because I took breaks from it because I didn't realize the inconsistency. I'd upload videos, and then I would not have success, quote unquote, and then I would stop posting. And then I would start posting again, and then I'd stop posting, and then my videos would take off, and I'd stop posting, and then I just this thing, I realized, like, oh, I only get views, like, it's just because the algorithm works. It's just over time. Like, these videos, like, I post a video now, and this video may get 4 views in the first 2 hours, 20 views in the first day, 40 views in the first week, a few hundred views eventually, and then in 2 years it might hit like 10,000 or 20,000 views. In 2 years. Just the algorithm picks it up at some point. But I just keep making these and keep making these, and that's ultimately why I consider myself a martial artist. The same way I show up to jiu-jitsu every day and just get in my reps, the same way I walk barefoot every day and get in my reps, the same way I do a little bit of kettlebells every day and get in my reps, the same way I do a little bit of technique every day and get in my reps. But I can't do that every day with hard live training, because hard live training is too hard on my body. So I train like you should, once a week, hard, max. That's really all I do. And like most of the time, I can only train once a week because I'm so effing busy. So you older people, like, train once a week. Just go to an open mat once a week and go hard, and then go to another session and just do technique, and then walk every day barefoot. And then just do a little strength training. Keep doing that. Don't even add strength training if you're not doing it. Just add nothing else. Just do that. If you're an older jiu-jitsu practitioner over 30 or 40 and you're considering taking time off quitting, train once a week live, hard, once a week technique, no live, walk every day barefoot for 30 minutes, do nothing else new. Sleep more, take every 4th week off completely, and only walk. No strength training, no technique, no live. Watch your training skyrocket. I have all these people ask me, how did you train? How much do you train? Like, and they're just so flabbergasted that I'm only a blue belt and I don't train nearly as much as they do, and they're purple belts, brown belts, black belts even. Like, wow, like, it's just because I have an 80-20 game that's built around control of the head and neck, and choke-based and reaction-based with proactive pressure. All these things. We'll talk about my game later. It's wonderful, but I train my neck, which no one else does. It's an unfair advantage. I attack the neck, which most people don't. And then I train the neck, so that's an unfair advantage. I 80-20 this stuff all the time. I meditate, which is an unfair advantage. And I breathe. I mean, Hickson, Gracie, Grayson all the time says breathe. So you guys should probably breathe. And, like, really breathe. So breathe, that's the other one. So I control my breathing, which makes it seem like I have superhuman cardio, even though I do no cardio. Besides walking and once a week of jiu-jitsu, and you people just think I have amazing cardio. And so they do that, I control my breathing, and I just meditate every day and focus on controlling my breathing, and that builds the habit that just continues into my life. So I have this breathing control, which prevents me from panicking in bad situations, allows me to attack their breathing by forcing them to work harder and expend more oxygen than they can take in, and accumulate more carbon dioxide that they can dissipate. And thus they start to experience muscle failure and panic more, making the effect even worse, and thus allowing my dumbest moves to work, which are all attacks to the head and neck in which they don't train. Mitochondrial health is amazing. Training every day hard hurts your mitochondria, which hurts your brain health, which hurts your hormones. If your hormones are not good, you need to get off TRT slowly. You need to fix your hormones. You fix your hormones by fixing your metabolism. You fix your metabolism by increasing your hormones, then fixing your metabolism, fixing your sleep, sleeping more, easing off the hormones, allowing your body to take over slowly, seeing what works with your body, fixing your mind, increasing brain-derived neurotropic factor, because that's how we rewire our brains to one degree. You can do that through breathing, you can do it through exercise as well. But anything to increase BDNF, because metabolism increases BDNF. As you can see, I'm very sleep deprived, so I'm very disinhibited, and I'm feeding into the disinhibition in order to make this video while I'm driving and make it entertaining, so it's free associative, and I reduce the use of the word and this is about focus. This principle is reflected in your training for older grapplers and business owners who must be efficient. To be efficient, you must focus. If you have not mastered your focus, then you cannot focus your energy on one part of your opponent's body in order to break it, nor will you be able to overcome his defenses. One of those holes in his defenses, as any hole must be squeezed through, and therefore requires focus. Focus in training, focus in life, focus in happiness, focus in strife. If I don't focus, my life will be bland. I might as well have built my house on sand, for focus is built on a brain made from habit. So if I don't learn, well, I'll be dead in dag-nabbit, because BDNF allows me to think new thoughts that solve problems and might even be true. For the reason I can, in this moment right now, compose poetry off the cuff with you wondering how, is that I have decades of practice. That's what mastery is, a reflection of habit. And learning that is something reflected in environment and brain, so that if either is broken, you'll feel quite insane. Use increased energy to drive increased power. How, you might ask? I'll tell you this hour. You do it through consciousness cultivated through habit. For consciousness brings with it a force like a rabbit. It moves quickly, unpredictably, jumping to and fro. The only way to track it is study it like so. Become like a serpent and move through the grass, assuming no form, for you need none to pass through your enemy's defenses and holes in his armor, because doing so requires a certain kind of auger, the kind that comes through cultivation and force, developed and reinforced in waterways course. Why in the water? Because consciousness is a stream that flows steadily, charting without miss. With eddies it flows, for eddies just are patterns formed reinforcing reflecting from far. Patterns in the stars that we've observed from above are reflected below as well as above. And these patterns we study with our consciousness built, embedded in habit, carved in the silt, made in stone, lived in with faith. This poem is long. I feel like a wraith. I'll end it right now, though the principle shows that consciousness comes and it ebbs and it flows. And when it starts to ebb, like the tide, we must make structures out of it that then from whence we must take. Like the supplement here that from myself I have made, reflecting my consciousness. Though it is truth that I bade, for things true enough yield productions that give habit. I am inhibiting this poem through that same force of habit, because habit is the opposite of relaxation and flow, and relaxation and flow come from metabolism and go, which necessarily are the burning of energy. That energy comes from metabolic synergy. Synergy being an approximate rhyme built on energy, lagging in time. The poem drags on as my consciousness shows that energy goes as much as it flows. Because of this principle, we must be efficient and draw our energy from sources around us that have it. Thus, we burn energy and build it, encode it around us, so that when we start to die, we take it from our surroundings. Because energy dissipates, though its cultivation is also a principle of the universe that must be recognized as well. Like wells in the ground, we draw consciousness from the flow of the water so that we might not be dumb. Rocks that cannot move and create. Older gentlemen now, I hope that I sate your curiosity with this video that has dragged on for a minute, and now I must say ends right now because I cannot bring it anymore. It is gone. I'm besought.